This is Flo News at 6 p.m. on Flo 94.9 FM, the Flo of God's home state. Good evening and thanks for joining us. My name is Chimdindo Chambers. The headlines. Former President Obasanjo expresses concerns over insecurity in open letter to President Buhari. Presidential Election Petition Tribunal admits 48 videos presented by Atiku and PDP. Governor Ibazo approves extension of operational hours for tricycles in Aba and Umuahia. And on the foreign scene, White House moves to block asylum for migrants crossing Mexico. Details in a moment. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has written another letter to President Muhammadu Buhari expressing worry over incessant killings across Nigeria. According to him, the issue of killings can no longer be ignored or treated with nonchalance. He said it cannot be swept under the carpet or treated with cuddling gloves. The elder statesman in a letter also warned that Nigeria is tipping towards a dangerous cliff and only the president could forestall such a looming disaster. Obasanjo therefore urged the government to open up discussion, debate and dialogue as part of the consultation to prefer solution to the problem of insecurity confronting the nation. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka says the federal government has failed in solving Nigeria's problems. Soyinka, who lamented the violence caused by herdsmen through indiscriminate grazing of cattle and the destruction of farmlands, called for national conference where issues relating to Nigeria will be discussed.
Convoke at the same time a national, what I call an indaba, across all sections, in which we all meet and debate everything, including the economy of this nation. I think that's the way to go. I believe very frankly that the problems of this nation are beyond the solution that can be offered by this government.
He maintained that the Muhammadu Buhari-led government can only make an impact by thinking beyond partisan politics. The presidential candidate of the Young Progressive Party YPP in the last election, Kingsley Moghalu, says the responses of the present government to the security challenges bedeviling the nation are so weak. Moghalu said that the kind of solution that are being put on the table is simply inadequate to meet the challenges, insisting that there must be a total restructuring of the country to reflect true federalism in Nigeria.
Problems of disunity, people feeling they want to leave the country. So there's a very deep problem that I agree with him. The kinds of solutions that are being put on the table are simply not adequate to address. Fundamental solution to Nigeria's problems is that Nigeria must be constitutionally restructured to become a true federation along the lines of geopolitical and geoeconomic zones. That's the only way Nigeria can work.
Former Assistant Director, State Security Service, Dennis Amachiri, believes that addressing fundamental issues like poverty and unemployment will go a long way in curbing insecurity facing the country. Speaking in a monitored television interview, Amachiri noted that banditry and kidnapping and other criminality originated from poverty and unemployment.
There is a serious insecurity problem in the country, and we have to understand that. One, there's a lot of the army of unemployed, a lot of poverty in the land, a lot of graduates who are coming out who don't have jobs, and these graduates have a very, very fertile mind of how to get quick money. And then, of course, security problem whereby people cannot even just drive through from Lagos to Ore or something like that. The roads are... Do we address these problems first so that the environment will be safe for everybody?
He, however, urged the federal government to give adequate training to the military to enable them to perform optimally in the fight against insurgency. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has admitted 48 videos presented by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, to prove the existence of a server which was used for the presidential election. The clips, which were produced by the petitioner's 40th witness, Segun Shoumi, were to back some allegations raised in their petition challenging the outcome of the February 23 poll. They played 4 of the videos to prove that election results were transmitted electronically. The Supreme Court has dismissed the suit challenging the qualification of Nyesom Wike to uphold the governorship seat in the Rivers State elections. Justice Paul Galije, who read the late judgment, which was prepared by Justice Olukayode Ariwolo, said the appeal court erred in law to have allowed the appellant, Elvis Chinda, amend his notice of appeal several days after he ought to have done so. The 5-man panel held that amendment of notices of appeal cannot be done outside the time stipulated by the law. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed has described the crisis rocking the State Assembly as shameful. He, however, insisted that the state had only one House of Assembly with one Speaker. He said this in a speech when he received members of a committee set up by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, sent to intervene in the crisis rocking the Bauchi State Assembly during a visit to the government house today. Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State has said that the state would implement the Ruga Settlement Initiative to resettle headers and boost economic activities. The governor told the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, who visited the state, that the state government would go ahead with the program in spite of its suspension by the federal government. The governor said arrangements had been put in place to set up a Ruga settlement on 100-hectare land in each of the 3 senatorial districts of the state. The Social Democratic Party, SDP, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to overhaul the security apparatus in the country to halt the spate of killings and other crimes. Chairman of the party, Tunde Adeniran, made the call in a statement on Monday in Akure by 2 members of the party in the state, Ebenezer Adeniyon and Mrs. Oluwaseun Asamaye. Adeniran described the murder of Mrs. Funke Olakunring, the daughter of Afenifere leader Ruben Fasuranti, by suspected herdsmen as one death too many and unacceptable. Senator representing Abia North Senatorial Zone, Ojuzo Carlo, wants politicians in the country to desist from playing politics with sensitive national issue in the interest of the nation. Carlo, who was speaking to newsmen, noted that politicians should deploy their energy on how best to develop the country, which will be in the interest of all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe or religion.
They have kept being criticizing government, criticizing tribes, criticizing everybody. There are too much hatred by politicians among themselves. Everything is politics. When people in Nigeria cannot pick meals to eat, politicians are busy politicizing everything. Anybody you see, nobody talks about interests of Nigeria. Anybody you talks about interests of his village. It's a high time our politicians should start being Nigerian politicians. They should see themselves as people who represent people of Nigeria.
Abia State government says it is poised to addressing the filthy environment within Umuahia and Aba to ensure the good health of the public. Speaking to Flo FM News, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Onyebuchi Ememanka, said the Governor is taking a total review of situation towards ensuring that it is properly addressed.
Well, it's part of the challenges of urbanization, and the government is also working hard to take care of this. And this includes part of the strategy, reviewing the makeup of the team that is in charge. So the governor is reviewing, taking a holistic review of the situation.
The governor of Abia State, Okezie Victor Igbazo, has approved the extension of the hours of operation of tricycle operators, popularly known as Keke, to 9 p.m. every day in Aba and Umuahia. The governor, in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Onyebuchi Ememanka, directed the Commissioner of Police, Abia State, and heads of other security agencies in the state to remain vigilant and intensify their patrols with a view to nipping in the bud any criminal activity that may emanate from this extension. He advised tricycle operators under the aegis of Abia State Amalgamated Tricycle Operators Association, ASATOA, to reciprocate and checkmate the use of their tricycles for criminal activities. Flo News at 6 p.m. continues shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Stay with us. Glad to know that you're still there. Now away to business news. The National Bureau of Statistics has released the Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, with the index dropping year-on-year from 11.40% in May to 11.22% in June. The Bureau in a report said the June inflation rate of 11.22% represents a decrease of 0.18 percentage points over the rate recorded in May. On month-on-month basis, it said the index increased by 1.07% in June 2019, noting that this is 0.04% rate lower than the 1.11% recorded in May. And of course, away from the shores of Nigeria, the Trump administration has moved to block most migrants who cross the U.S. southern border after passing through Mexico from seeking asylum. A new rule redefining asylum eligibility to take effect on Tuesday is the latest attempt to stem the flow of undocumented migrants into the country and comes amid White House frustration at Congress's failure to change asylum law. The White House new rule targets the recent stream of hundreds of thousands of migrants from Central America and other countries who have tried to cross into the United States from Mexico and request asylum to gain a foothold inside the country. And finally, in sports, a football administrator, Ikechukwu Apugo, is calling for a total overhaul of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, to allow for credible and passionate soccer lovers to man the affairs of the game. Apugo, who was reacting to Nigeria's 2-1 loss to Algeria at the ongoing 32nd edition of African Cup of Nations in Egypt, said that Super Eagles' performance on the night was abysmal.
But with what I saw, that is problem. If we continue like this, if the NFF continues like this, that will be a big problem. Let us now give young boys the opportunity to play in the Super Eagles. Let us forget about names and forget about money and bring in people with talent. Let them play for Nigeria. People that are committed, let them play for the country, because there is no need. Because the midfield collapsed yesterday. When we have in Nigeria, we have more midfielders than any other department in football. Young midfielders that can play.
To end the news, a recap of our major stories. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has written another letter to President Muhammadu Buhari expressing worry over incessant killings across Nigeria. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has admitted 48 videos presented by the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, to prove the existence of a server which was used for the presidential election. The governor of Abia State, Okezie Victor Ikpeazu, has approved the extension of the hours of operation of tricycle operators, popularly known as Keke, to 9 p.m. every day in Aba and Umuahia. And from the foreign scene, we brought to you that the Trump administration has moved to block most migrants who cross the U.S. southern border after passing through Mexico from seeking asylum. Thanks for being with us. Remember that security is everyone's business. Provide useful information to security agencies to ensure your security. Do join us at 6:45 a.m., noon and 6 p.m. every weekday for additional newscasts. This is Flo 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. You can send your views or information to flofmnews@gmail.com or visit www.flonews.com.ng for more stories. This bulletin was edited by Samson Eze. My name is Chimdindo Chambers. Thank you so much for joining us.